Hello, everyone. Thank you for taking part in our session today. We're excited to be here speaking about incorporating video into your applications. And as a tag along, we're officially launching our new audio redaction tool today as well. And you're going to be among the first ones to see it in action. My name is Nick Adams, and I work here at PDFtron on the marketing team. And I'll be the one communicating with you in the chat bar on the right-hand side of your screen throughout the webinar. Andre will try to answer as many questions as he can throughout the session, and we'll have a designated Q&A period at the end. And you can ask your questions by submitting them in the question tab on the right-hand side of your screen, I guess right for you over there. Don't worry if your question isn't answered right now. We'll be following up with you after the session as well. Our speaker today is Andre Safanov. Andre is a solutions engineer and one of the public faces of PDFtron. You may recognize him from our YouTube channel or various speaking gigs with the PDF Association or others. With almost a decade of experience in the tech industry as an engineer, consultant, and architect, Andre works with startups, Fortune 500 companies to create scalable performance solutions in all verticals. Andre, thank you for being here with us today.
Yeah, perfect. Thanks, Nick. Thanks for the introduction. So I'm really excited for this one, just because I'm also a product lead for this specific kind of video and audio setup as the case. So today, I'm going to go ahead and kick off with a little bit of slides that I put together, and I will just kind of explain what we're doing today. So thanks again for being here. So over the next hours, what are we going to do? I'm going to provide you a quick overview about what is video and audio SDK. We'll jump into the demo where I will show off the products and really excited about the new audio announcement. And then at the end of the, we're going to go through an integration. So for example, it's really, great for anybody who already has an existing WebViewer. I will kind of showcase how easy it is to just enable video just by simply downloading another module. And for anybody kind of coming in new without any prior knowledge of WebViewer, don't worry. I will just kind of walk you through and kind of explain what's going on behind the scenes. So we'll just kind of perform hands-on integration as well. And then at the end of it all, we're just going to leave it up Q&A. I'm really curious to kind of, hear why you came on this webinar in the first place, whether or not kind of it fits your requirements and reflects your use case. So let's dive in. So in terms of use cases, video and audio, kind of a bit of a history of the product. So PDFtron, kind of from the name itself, might seem that we're just working with PDFs. However, over the past kind of 22 years, we actually started to expand our document expertise. So we kind of covering formats like PDF, MS Office, images, and CAD documents. And then a lot of our customers kind of came to us and said, well, like our customers have tons of videos and they have tons of audio files as well. And we want to provide them with a consistent kind of view and ability to like annotate and collaborate. And instead of kind of going to multiple different vendors, having, multiple different UIs, or even kind of maintaining all those separate modules individually, we want to kind of do everything with PDFtron. And that's how kind of PDFtron video and audio project got kicked off, where we said, you know what, sure, let's actually kind of see what's possible. And I have a team of 5 engineers kind of working on the specific product to kind of implement and see what's possible with the video and different annotation tools that we can offer. Now, it was a really smooth journey. We iterated and prototyped quite quickly, and now we're on a version 3 release for WebViewer Video. So some of the use case and our customers that involved are in law firms and legal services. There is really important. So for example, when reviewing kind of like a piece of evidence that comes in, maybe it's a video that really kind of shows and, incriminates someone, we want to kind of be able to review that video to see kind of start and stop, where the action begins. Maybe we need to kind of trim it, and maybe we just need to redact faces and kind of save someone's life by obfuscating and making their kind of faces or appearance private on that specific video. In the information or document management, especially in kind of document management system, electronic content management systems, some of you might be familiar, but you kind of providing them great PDF viewing experience, you're providing them a great MS Office experience and image. But for videos, maybe right now what are you doing? Just letting them download the file to their desktop so they can view it in some other player, or you just kind of viewing it directly in like a built-in video player inside of the browser, where now you can kind of provide the same stable video viewing experience all throughout. Now in media, especially working with a lot of kind of media and publishing, working with a lot of kind of content that needs to be created quick, and we need to prototype on several versions. So for example, at PDF we just released our kind of 2020 year in review video, and we had to go through multiple kind of review and approval stages. We needed to ensure that all the stakeholders agree on like what type of content goes into it, how does animation, how the transition works. And we used WebViewer Video to specifically annotate on the kind of keyframes to say, oh, okay, well, hey, we actually should put another kind of customer that we onboarded, throughout the year. Hey, we should kind of add here, kind of the animation transition should be here. So it's really easy for our kind of designers to kind of go back very quickly and prototype rapidly to push out a piece of content. So the same thing can be applicable in kind of like different industries. For example, just creating ads for your social channels, or even kind of mass production like movies and VFX production as well. Inside of e-learning, really exploded during the 2020 and 2021 because of COVID. A lot of kind of students got pushed back to work and study from home, and as such, video is just a great format to present your lecture, but also students kind of have the ability to stop and take their notes along the video. So we actually are embedded in a lot of kind of learning management systems where the video of the lecture is played and the student kind of stops and kind of takes their notes, or even starts question period with the lecturer or teacher in play, as well as marketing services for any of the kind of design studios creating and content for other companies. They can quickly and rapidly get the feedback from their customers and kind of agree and move forward on the project. Okay, so this is just some of the examples and use cases that WebViewer Video is used for today. Again, really curious to learn about your use case later on in the Q&A period. So stay tuned for that. So why WebViewer Video? So there's tons of different kind of like software as a service applications right now. I checked, there's about 25 different web applications right now on the market. Like if you Google for annotate a video or comment on video or collaborate on video. Now, what a lot of those solutions are missing is when it comes to security. They do not allow you to host it on your own infrastructure. So they provide kind of an end user product that just like, here you go, we can allow you to collaborate on videos, but you got to upload your videos to our file storage servers. So it kind of introduces a new failure point here where you have to rely on their servers to be up and running all the time. And also you don't really know where their servers locate around the world. And especially if you're dealing with a sensitive piece of content, for example, in legal kind of like evidence-based files, or you're dealing with like any kind of government projects, or even unreleased piece of content. For example, for Netflix, some of the content before it even kind of gets out, lots of fans really kind of want to see the previews ahead of the time. So, we need to ensure that we can protect the content. So as such, it's really important to kind of be able to host on your own infrastructure for compliance and security. Then another one is ability to embed a custom watermark that you can overlay on top of your videos to prevent when you're kind of displaying the video and you're preventing the download of the video, so they don't kind of just screen grab or screen capture on top of the screen. And then another side too is that we perform everything client side. So operations like rendering the video out to the user and annotating on top of it, it's all kind of happening directly inside of their browser. So really when kind of setting up our infrastructure, all we really need is a front-end web application and the file storage where the video can be streamed out of. And then specifically around the security, you can also set up user roles and permissions, just like the way you do it inside of your WebViewer today, where you can kind of have some users that are read-only, and the migration kind of from 2D document-based world to a video is very seamless, because all the same kind of user roles and permissions that you have created inside of WebViewer will work in WebViewer Video. And in terms of collaboration, we really want to make sure that the user doesn't have to relearn the new interface, that they can just say, hey, all the tools are familiar to me. I'm using them on day-to-day basis with my PDFs, Office and Images documents. I can just use them the same way, the shapes, the different kind of comments, and you're going to see it in a demo today. But there's consistency with the tooling that they use. There's also no file size limit, so we can just kind of stream any size. We've tested, with a 2-hour movie. We tested it with a 30 seconds clip, and that whole experience can be just embedded into your existing app today. So whether you already have kind of WebViewer embedded, or you just need specifically collaboration on the video, we can simply enable and enhance your application out of the box to provide that collaboration piece to your videos. And with customization, with a lot of the solutions on the market today, they kind of provide, that's it. Here's an end user experience you're going to get. You can't really do anything about it. You can't really make it your own either, because we're going to display our logo and kind of promote it. Where with WebViewer Video, you can white label it and brand it any way you want. We also offer quite powerful and simple APIs to just quickly change the customization look and feel. You can have the dark theme, you can have the light theme. And if that's not enough, we'll also provide just an open source UI. You can kind of jump in and tweak the UI as much as you want. You can kind of add additional components inside of it. We wrote our UI inside of React, so it's just really simple to get started and kind of customize the component appearance, look, and feel. And in terms of file formats, we support all the video formats that a web browser can support, like MP4, OGG, and WebM. And then for the audio, the really cool part here is that we actually can use all the same video formats that simply can be dropped in our audio solution. We'll extract the audio track out of the video and then provide kind of visualization waveform on it. And then on top of that, we support MP3, WAV, and FLAC. Now, for the formats that you probably kind of worked with in the video, they're just kind of wrappers around those 3 MP4, OGG, and WebM formats that we can actually will be expanding our server-side APIs to provide you a nice and convenient way to kind of go from one format to another that is supported by the web browser. So it's more so limitation on the browser side rather than on the WebViewer Video. And then in terms of other file formats, PDFtron as a whole supports PDFs, MS Office, images, CAD, live websites, and other 30+ different file formats that you can just simply enable inside of your applications, just by plugging WebViewer inside of it. So this is all I have prepared for kind of quick overview introduction. At this point, what I want to do is jump into a video kind of demo and present it to you. So I'm just going to reshare my screens and we can get started. Okay, perfect. So this is WebViewer Video. I'm not sure if you had a chance to play around with it or not, but here what I can do is I can adjust the volume just so it doesn't play too loud here, and I can start playing the video. And as you can see that we actually have a visualization for each of the frames that are kind of appearing inside of the video. So we generate kind of the frame previews to give our users a clear understanding what's going on in the picture. I can also kind of pause the video at a specific frame, and then after that, kind of use the same set of annotation capabilities that I do have as part of my kind of PDF, Office, and Images. And I can say, well, freehand, I can kind of draw a different path, maybe kind of follow the shape, and then I can kind of provide commenting and annotation on top of it. So I can say, hey, could we tweak the colors on this branch? And then after, and the next person can actually just kind of jump in and they can reply to our post. So guest is just kind of in a demo mode, but inside of your application, you can connect it with your existing kind of usernames, and they can collaborate. And all of the annotations that I'm kind of drawing on top of it is just a simple canvas overlay on top of an existing video. And it's stored in the exact same way that we stored on kind of 2D documents. So if you're not familiar how we do it on 2D documents, we do it in XML-based format called XFDF. So it's just a very simple string that kind of stores the coordinates and the shape of the annotation and kind of the author and any replies or comments inside of it. So if we're trying to create a real-time collaborative experience, all we have to synchronize is just a very simple XML string across. So we can, if you also like to store kind of inside of JSON, you can convert XML to JSON and store it as such, and kind of synchronize in a real-time database among all of your users. And then kind of to enable quick review and approval process, let's say that specific task is, accepted. They can just simply give a status of accepted or a thumbs up. They can also click completed when it's done. And we have like a full tracking history of who accepted it, who completed it. So you can kind of move the review and approval kind of process through multiple stages. So let's say here we want to kind of tweak something. So maybe I'll pick a green circle, and I'll just kind of bump up the stroke size and maybe pick this color right here. So if, let's say, we need this specific annotation to be across multiple frames, as we can see here that the bird appears in kind of 5 frame segments, using the arrow keys on the keyboard, we can actually multi-select multiple frames and kind of adjust the circle, let's say, to ensure that it fits directly kind of across all the frames. So now, as you can see, we have this kind of new annotation, and we have a new timestamp here that kind of spans across 4 seconds of the video. And again, we can perform the same type of commenting and status setting. I can also use kind of powerful filtering tools to kind of say, I want to see all the comments by that specific person, or just kind of choose specific types of the annotations that I want to kind of go ahead and see. And same thing when it comes to sorting. I can sort by time code, position, time, status, author type. So if I want to kind of see any completed or uncompleted tasks that I still have to go review, I can do so. And if I click on the annotation, I can jump to that specific place inside of the video and kind of see what the content here is being done. And then I can play it and kind of see what the annotation. The annotations also get visualized right here on my timeline at the bottom that indicate kind of if the annotation spans across multiple frames as well. And again, I can quickly navigate it or move it around the timeline as I go through it. Some of the other features that been requested by our customers, and that's kind of really great part about kind of building something and interacting with our users. We get feedback directly from them, and then we prioritize and base our roadmap based on your feedback. Now, one of them was, especially in kind of marketing and media publishing industry, is that when you're working with very short clips, you want to ensure that they're loopable. So then what you can do, you can just use this looping functionality right here to say, I want to loop this video. Or if I want to increase the playback time, say, kind of slow things down or speed things up. In our kind of TV or production industry, a lot of the times, the way video is going to be exported or portrayed on the screen is going to be different. So we actually included safety margins. So for example, you can see what a 16:9 aspect ratio is going to look like on the specific video. We're kind of overlaid with this wireframe. Or for example, if we have an older video 4:3, as you can see, the screen size shrinks, and then we will see what's going to get cut off in the video if we export it into this specific format. Now we can turn off the safety margins. We can also upload our own subtitles and comments specifically for the video, just to even see the styling or the placement of them on our screen as well, to see that that specific kind of closed captioning is not going to cut off any important piece of content on top of it. And then, so kind of we have a whole bunch of different annotation tools and capabilities. For example, this one is really popular in construction industry, but it also carries over very well to the video where we can kind of cloud and select specific fragment of the video, and again apply it across multiple frames, adjust each specific point. So it gets really advanced. So it's not just kind of simple shapes, but also freehands, or if I want to just go ahead and kind of drop a comment or drop a freehand text where I can kind of style it and kind of say make this bolder, make this italic. Even creating kind of titles and transitions between the video is also possible. And we can bump up the text size right here. Okay, so this is what I have kind of for the video product. So I highlighted some features and functionalities that we have. Let's go through, and the next exciting one is going to be WebViewer Audio, which is brand new announcements for PDFtron. Okay, so here's WebViewer Audio sample. So here we can simply open, our audio files like MP3 or WAV, or any other kind of, video/audio files like MP4, OGG, WebM, or another audio format, FLAC. Now here you can kind of quickly play and visualize the audio itself, and then after that we can comment and place certain regions on top of it to kind of indicate, let's say this portion of the comment needs to be kind of interacted with. So we can say, hey, this actually should be removed. This should be kind of faded in nicely, let's say. So kind of the same commenting functionality is available. So please fade out. And we can set it, repeat it when it's done. Okay, and then, for portions of the audio that we kind of want to, say we want to kind of remove this kind of starting bit and maybe chop off this end, or inside of our legal industry, we can say, hey, this portion right here of the audio should actually be removed completely altogether, because maybe, it has someone else's voice that's not really applicable for that specific case. So after we kind of selected any of the regions for redactions that are portrayed here in kind of this white color, we can actually go ahead and redact all of them at the same time. And then the redaction will take completely inside the browser client side. And as you can see here, that it removes portions of that specific audio track from where we selected. So it removes completely all the underlying bytes from there. So now we can save it off or send it out, to opposing party or to our client, and that specific section of the audio is going to be done. And then after that, we can kind of comment on this portion of the track to indicate why it was removed in the first place. So, whether or not there was kind of sensitive information missing. And we're also working on some of the kind of features and functionalities to add a replacement sound inside of it. So the users can kind of have a selection of existing audio files that they want to kind of replace it, maybe a beep, or maybe just a voice saying that this specific content been redacted for privacy, or upload their own custom file. We're going to add some of the trimming capability to kind of trim the audio track down, and yeah, any other improvements that you might suggest. Okay, so the next portion of this webinar, we want to kind of go ahead and kind of see how quickly and easy we can get started. So here, I'm going to pull up a kind of like a project. It's a React app that already includes WebViewer inside of it. So I'm just going to make my Visual Studio Code editor a little bit bigger so it's easier to see. So as you can see here, maybe you're already using WebViewer from PDFtron. And if not, you can just kind of watch our guides how to get started with any framework like Angular, Vue, or just vanilla JavaScript or React app, and embed WebViewer inside of it. So right now, if I go ahead and start my application, let's see kind of what shows up, from the start. So I mistyped the command first time, but npm start would go ahead and run our development server. And inside of it, as you can see that we have WebViewer initialized with kind of the text inside of it, different annotation tools that we have, and shapes. So now, what I want to do is go ahead and actually replace this component and enable video playback inside of it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to stop my development server, And if you already have kind of WebViewer available as one of your paths and kind of designed specifically and associated with an action of opening, PDFs, MS Office, and images, I would just leave that component as is, make a separate copy of that component, and kind of start designing specifically for the video audio. Because you might want to have different customizations on the WebViewer video rather than kind of WebViewer working with documents. Because as you can see that some of the tools that are available for us on PDFs, MS Office, do not carry over because we're not dealing with any text-based layer on top of a video. We're just simply working kind of with an image representation of each frame. Then you might want to hide those tools specifically from your users, which kind of WebViewer Video package does for you by default. So as such, it's good to create two separate components, one for kind of PDFs, MS Office, images, and CAD, and one for kind of video and another one for audio, so you can kind of customize and style them differently and kind of set up different endpoints and routes as well. So to get started to embed WebViewer Video inside of your React app or Angular or Vue, first things first, documentation is a great place to start. So you can actually navigate, and again, don't worry, we're going to post the links after the webinar where you can kind of go and check it out. But inside of here, we see WebViewer Video package, and here's the command to just simply install it. I can also copy it from here. So I'm just going to copy the command, and then after that, paste it in here. Oh, different command got pasted, but I can just type it out as well. So all I got to do here is type out npm I at pdftron/WebViewer. And this is an additional kind of module that will install npm pdftron WebViewer Video. We decided to separate those to kind of keep it very modular and kind of, depending for your application needs, to bring in specific packages as you grow your application. So if you don't need certain file formats to start, you can just simply not install that package. So now we have kind of additional module installed. The next step in our guide would be to go ahead and kind of copy some of the logic over. So I can import this following line to get the specific functions that are related to the WebViewer Video. And I'll just do my import right here. So we're importing two functions, initialize video viewer and reader controls to DOM, from @pdftron WebViewer Video package that we just installed. And inside of here, we can find kind of our use effect and where we're mounting the WebViewer with a specific configuration. And we no longer need to be loading pdftron about PDF. We can just remove this line, save it. And then inside of here, we can also get rid of this body and replace it by documentation provided inside of the npm module that we supplied. So here, let's go ahead and copy this right here. And I'll just kind of walk through and kind of explain what's happening and what we're copying. Okay, so as you can see here is that we're extending WebViewer to allow loading HTML5s and videos. So we're kind of taking the existing UI that's already in place, and then after that, we're adding additional capability. So additional module that brings us capability to enable video playback inside of it. So as you can see here, this function does return a promise. So let's just go ahead and add async right here. And after that, we have a video URL coming from our S3 bucket. That's going to be the bunny video. And then we just simply call load video URL. Okay, and after that, we're also mounting additional controls, kind of for the frame interaction. So at this point, this looks good to me. So we should now, instead of seeing a PDF, we should see the video playback start on the video that we're loading from our S3 bucket. So as you can see here, we're just going to refresh the screen and see what happens. Ah, perfect. So as you can see now here, we can go ahead and play this video. The video playback started streaming from our S3 bucket. And as you can see, the WebViewer kind of video UI changed. So we'll only have applicable tools specifically to work with the video. So, and we can kind of comment and go ahead and kind of comment and interact with it the exact same way that you've seen in the demo earlier, and kind of pop this panel open. So as you can see, it's almost very simple, just installing a new NPM package and just kind of configuring it, initializing the video viewer, loading video URL, just to simply enable it. So it took me less than 5 minutes to kind of get this whole thing set up. So hopefully it should be pretty straightforward and easy for you as well. And if not, we're here for you. You can always message support@pdftron.com, and we'll be able to more than happy to kind of help you get started, get set up, and resolve any issues you might have. Okay, perfect. Well, I think this was a great session. I hope you learned something, and really happy and excited to be here to kind of present video and audio product for you. Feel free to reach out with any comments, questions, any suggestions for the future webinar, for the future content as well. You can check out a lot of the resource on our YouTube channel, and then we'll be following up with you shortly. Thanks so much.